Hey guys, welcome to this 23-minute middle splits flow. We're just going to start off by doing some cat cows and just grounding ourselves for the next 23 minutes and just warming up our back, taking some deep breaths here. Lovely. So now we're going to come into child's pose and just breathe it out here for a couple seconds before we get into the nitty-gritty and start properly warming up for our middle splits. Now we're going to come up onto our all fours and take our left leg out for 5 hip rotations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going to go the other way for 5 again. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to switch over to our right leg. Same thing, trying to keep your upper body nice and straight. 5 going each direction. I'm really hoping you felt the burn because I definitely did. Just a very quick child's pose. You see, not very long. Now we're going to take our left leg up and take 10 pulses up, nice and quick. Other side. Ten. Lovely. Bring it down. Just take a breather. I know the burn is burning, but this is what we need to strengthen these muscles. So we're going to take some lunges, but we're going to take active lunges where we're bringing ourselves up just like this. Bring it down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Now switch sides. Same thing for 5. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last but not least. Great. So now we're going to come around, turn around. Well, I'm going to turn around anyway, just so I can show you this move. We're going to take some side to side lunges and we're going to go for 12. We're going to do 6 assisted with our hand on the floor, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you can, I want you to take those hands off the floor and just go for another 6 with your hands off the floor. If this is too difficult, just go back to the first variation. In total, all we need is 12. And try to keep your balance. As you can see, I lost mine, but that's okay. And last but not least, 12. So here we're going to come into a child's pose and just breathe it out for a second. We're almost done with the active warm-up before we start getting into deeper stretching for our middle splits. Great, so now we're going to come up and come into this deep squat-ish. It's like a seated squat and my feet are facing outwards. My core is engaged and I'm just having my hands on my knees, as you can see here. Left to right, and now we're just going to hold So engage your core, try to tuck your tailbone under and just hold, and release. So I'm going to grab my blocks and we're just going to come into a quick hamstring stretch. Yes, we need our hamstrings for middle splits as well. Just come into a nice stretch. From here, we're going to take some left and right, bending our knees for 8. Very similar to what we've just done with our side to side lunges, and trying to keep your back as straight as possible here to really tackle those hamstrings. Well done, guys. Now we can put the blocks to the side and we're going to come into a lunge with our right leg forward. So we're going to lean forward into this lunge, taking a deep breath, getting a nice deep stretch in our hip flexors. We're going to take it out and come back in again. See if you can go a bit deeper. So I'm going to put my hands on the floor and you're going to heel toe your front foot out a little bit just to give you some space. And we're just going to take these gentle left and right rocks, just working more into our hip flexors. Now I'm going to bring my right foot down and forward, setting up for pigeon pose. We're going to keep our pigeon pose nice and active for today. As always, you can take that back leg up for an even deeper stretch in your hip flexor, but you don't have to do this. Nice. Now we're going to swap over. Same thing on this side as well. So coming into that lunge, breathing deep, coming out of it, and then coming right back in. Bringing our hands down and heel toeing our foot out to the edge a little bit, just to give us some space, and then taking these very gentle left and right motions if it feels good for you. Bringing that foot down and forward so we can set up for pigeon as we did on the other side, keeping it nice and active. I really like to just take some gentle movements left and right when I'm in pigeon pose. Now let's get ready to release this stretch. Coming into a child pose with your knees closed together. Just taking some deep breaths. Great, so now we're going to set up for butterfly, and we're going to take some pulses, hold onto your feet, and just take some pulses for 15 seconds, count for 15. And once you've done with that, we're just going to rock left and right, just getting into each hip. Now we're going to set up for straddle. And just making sure we're aligned. and taking some rotations. We're going to go for 6 rotations clockwise. And we're going to take 6 rotations anti-clockwise. You want to take your arms over to your right leg. If you can get your nose to your knees, great. And if you can't, that's fine. Just go as far as you can for today. Taking some rotations as I'm doing here, if that feels good for you. And lean over to your left side. Go ahead and release. Bringing your arms to the center, we're going to take these cat-cow movements where we straighten our back, come forward, and then make an arch, trying to get further down each time. So here you really want your private area to touch the floor. That's why we take our back so straight to really get that movement, and just shake it out. So now we're going to set up for a figure 4 stretch, taking our left leg over our right knee and just taking some deep breaths here. We're working on our outer hip. Go ahead and switch to the other side. Take your time. Now let's gently come out of this figure 4, and we're going to come up onto our all fours, coming into a lunge, bringing our left leg forward. However, this time we're going into a deep lunge, taking our forearms onto the floor. Again, if this is too intense, you can just use a block to support you underneath your forearms to make it more comfortable. Go ahead and gently release. And of course, we're going to take this lunge on the other side, bringing our right leg forward. And slowly but surely release. We're now going to come onto our backs. So we're going to lay on our back, because we're going to come into a straddle. So just take your legs up and open. So I want you to point your toes here and just try to keep your legs as straight as you possibly can. And we're going to take some pulses for 10. And then after pulses, we're going to take these left and right fan movements for 10 as well. Again, trying to keep your legs as straight as possible, using your core. Again, back to pulses for 10. And after pulses, one more time for 10, left and right. We're really forcing our hip muscles and our core to work together. Nice. Now just hold for a couple seconds and release. I definitely felt that, and I hope you did too. Well done if you've made it this far so far. We're almost there. Go ahead and shake it out. And now we're going to set up for our diamond frog. So we're going to come kind of into like a child's pose, up on our hands. And I'm just going to take some hip rotations. This is literally like me whining, but guys, don't ask me. You need to do this, okay? And then we're going to go the other way for 4. Nice and slow. And coming onto our forearms. Just taking some deep breaths here. Okay, so now we're going to come up on our forearms and just bring our body forward a little more and just take these gentle rocks back and forth. And now we're going to come up onto our hands. As always, I like to make this stretch a little bit active. Taking deep breaths here as well. So now we're going to set up for our proper frog pose, taking our feet out, making sure that we're aligned. And we're going to stay in frog for about a minute, or just over a minute. And here we're going to come up onto our hands as well, getting that extra deep stretch. Just trying to, relax here as well. I know it's intense. I'm definitely feeling it. I was so tired when I filmed this, but I just had to. I just had to show up. So I hope you're showing up too. And And now we're going to come out of this frog pose and come into a child's pose. Alright guys, this is our moment now, so just come up into forward fold as I'm doing here, and keeping our back as straight as possible. We're now going to slide into our middle splits very slowly. Well done. So now I'm just checking my alignment, you know, just trying to point my toes, just getting a feel, taking some gentle movements back and forth as well here, coming onto the forearms, doing the same thing. There we go. And take some deep breaths. I know this is very intense, but this in itself is also a stretch, so we just want to try and stay here just for a little tiny bit, and slowly but surely come out. You probably don't want to come out like this, but I was so tired this day, so yeah, there was no option for me. Very well done if you made it this far. I really hope you give yourself a pat on the back. You will definitely get your middle splits. Just do this about 3 times a week and you'll start to see some real improvements. Once again, well done if you made it this far, and see you in my next video. Much love. Take care of yourself.